One person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent.
He would do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like,
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
The instant 50 Cent entered the courtroom, Diddy's reaction was unmistakable. His eyes bulged, jaw locked tight, and his hands trembled beneath the table. Gone was the unshakable, polished music mogul the world had come to know. By the third day of proceedings, multiple witnesses said Diddy unraveled completely after 50 Cent made a bold public show of support for Cassie. What followed stunned the entire courtroom and may alter the course of this entire trial.
Me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that flicky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or.
For 3 decades, Diddy built his empire on tightly curated image control. He was the master of red carpet charm, breezing through hard-hitting interviews and navigating public scandals without so much as a flinch. His brand was unwavering composure, the music mogul who never cracked. Remember that 2017 interview when a journalist brought up rumors of hush money paid to ex-employees? Diddy just smiled, adjusted his jacket, and sidestepped the question like a pro. Or in 2012, when his restaurant folded, and he still showed up to the closing party acting like it was part of some genius plan. That was vintage Diddy never letting the mask slip. Insiders say he paid dearly to keep it that way, according to sources. A dozen people were on payroll solely to manage his public persona. Everything from his answers to his expressions was choreographed. One former assistant told me he'd rehearse for hours in front of a mirror before major interviews. He even had a media coach who staged mock crises to test his ability to stay calm. But behind the tinted shades, staff had whispered for years about his temper. There were Diddy's, a former bad boy employee told me in confidence. The smooth public figure, and the guy who hurled phones across the room when something went wrong. These stories were easy to bury without a major name to back them. But just before the trial, Diddy's polished image started to slip. Paparazzi caught him snapping at a fan outside his attorney's office. Then came the tense press conference where he gripped the lectern so hard his knuckles turned white. These were minor incidents unless you've spent millions making sure they never happen. Crisis PR expert Tanya Rodriguez explained that stars like Diddy build carefully protected identities, but under pressure, even the best masks can crack, and when they do, they collapse fast. That's what happened on day 3. Multiple witnesses said the public foyer completely disintegrated. Court reporter Marcus Jenkins saw Diddy physically trembling as certain evidence was shown. His legs shook so violently the entire table rattled. Jenkins also noted that Diddy interrupted his lawyer 3 times, each one louder than the last, until the judge had to intervene. The final straw came when he suddenly yelled during a testimony, forcing Judge Harmon to warn him of possible contempt. Witnesses say his face twisted in a way the public hadn't seen in 30 years. And just when it looked like he might regain composure, the courtroom doors opened, and walked the last person Diddy ever thought he'd see standing with his accuser, his fiercest rival. Armed with motive and resources, 50 Cent's entrance sent shockwaves through the courtroom. Witnesses say Diddy's face went completely blank.
It turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he's gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the, but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Tell him the story.
Tell him the story. So we talking about rumors. Right?
Yeah.
And when you Google his name, there's a rumor that pops up that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh shit!
Right.
Wait, so this is
So Charlamagne said
It's not true, but I told after he brought up this stuff with you, I said, you know what 50 gonna say when he meets you?
Oh no, I don't know that was going on.
You know,
I can't wait to run into him again.
what you gonna say to him?
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
You know what 50 gonna say to you when he sees you.
What?
I heard Diddy touch your butt.
Yeah. Wait till I see him. Wait till I see him. I'm like, yo. Yeah.
What's happening with Puffy? I know you're not really tapped in, but what is it?
The last thing I saw was like a guy there. He was like, yo, he like pushed me into the trunk. It really hurt. And he sodomized me. Like he sodomized me. I was like, yo, look, I could find other things to do for my
The feud between Diddy and 50 Cent isn't some fleeting industry spat, it's a 20-year war. They haven't just avoided each other. They've been openly hostile since the early 2000s. 50 Cent has never minced words, taking shots at Diddy in interviews, radio segments, and most notoriously across social media, from accusing Diddy of having ties to Biggie's death to repeatedly mocking his sexuality. This beef has always been deeply personal, so when 50 strolled into the courtroom on day 3, clad in a sharp black suit and trademark shades, the energy instantly shifted. Court reporter Janelle Martin told me, you could hear phone vibrations in people's pockets. It was that quiet. Diddy, who'd been murmuring to his lawyer, froze mid-sentence. His head jerked up, and 3 different witnesses described his expression cycling rapidly, first disbelief, then alarm, and finally, something close to fear. No one had expected 50 to show up in person. Sure, he'd been trolling Diddy online since Cassie filed suit. Just last month, he posted hotel security footage allegedly showing Diddy assaulting Cassie back in 2016, with the caption, "Money can't hide who you are." That clip racked up over 12 million views. He followed up with a stream of Instagram posts hinting he had even more dirt. But what many didn't know was that 50 had been quietly talking to Cassie's legal team for weeks. A source told me he reached out almost immediately after the lawsuit dropped, saying he believed her story and wanted to help. According to the source, 50's always played the long game against his enemies. When he finally took a seat in the back row, all eyes ping-ponged between him and Diddy. Sketches showed Diddy repeatedly glancing behind him, even as his lawyer spoke. Then came the real shocker. During the lunch break, 50 addressed the press gathered outside. He didn't just say he supported Cassie. He announced he was personally bankrolling additional legal support through his Gunnity Foundation. "I'm putting my money into making sure survivors get justice," he told reporters, "and I'll help other women speak up about powerful men in the business." He even added, "This isn't about me and Diddy, it's about what's right." When word got back to Diddy, the response was instant. He pounded the table hard enough to knock over his water glass. His lawyer tried to calm him, but witnesses say he was trembling with rage. Security moved closer to the defense table. And then, right as the room simmered with tension, the prosecution dropped a bombshell. They were about to present new evidence, something they said would prove Diddy lied under oath. What came on screen next left the courtroom in utter disbelief.
He would do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like hating on, like doing things with people I done business with that he done business with. He would say shit that I was like, he said that to you?
Right.
I was like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it. So they want the girls after you're done with them and shit.
Yeah. Leftovers.
Yeah.
Let's take your leftovers. A lot of niggas have more leftovers.
Cassie was not offended by what I was offended by. This is what
They found Kendrick and Wifey.
You know, that's obviously doing shopping. They got the same outfit.
Yeah,
and
it's
wore
true.
it in public.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt. That's a nice shirt.
All
right, so when he said the shopping line, in real life, what did you say?
I said, let me get away from him. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I'll take you shopping and I can just flash and you can give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the wedding. I always say to myself, like,
it was someone's wedding?
Tension in the courtroom reached a boiling point after 50 Cent's unexpected arrival. The atmosphere was electric. Every breath felt like it could trigger an eruption. Prosecutors wore the kind of confident smirks that signaled something major was about to unfold. "Your Honor, we'd like to introduce evidence item for 7B. The lead prosecutor declared. Diddy's legal team immediately looked blindsided. One of his attorneys jumped up, objecting. "We've never seen anything labeled for 7B in discovery," he argued. That's when it became clear something unexpected was happening. Judge Harmon called both sides to the bench. What followed was a 5-minute whispered huddle, while Diddy sat alone, repeatedly turning to glance at 50 Cent, who remained stoic. In the back row, the courtroom artist later noted Diddy began cracking his knuckles, something she said he only did when visibly stressed. When the attorneys returned to their tables, Diddy's lawyer looked defeated. The judge addressed the jury. The court would allow the evidence, as it had been obtained just the previous day. Then came the reveal. The prosecution announced the footage was from security cameras at Diddy's Miami property, dated April 2018. As the monitors lit up, everything changed. The video, silent but crystal clear, showed what looked like Diddy confronting Cassie in a hallway. His gestures were aggressive. He pointed, yelled, and backed her into a wall. Then came the moment that stunned the courtroom. Diddy grabbed Cassie by the shoulders, shook her forcefully, then shoved her to the ground. Audible gasps followed. Diddy jumped to his feet, knocking over his chair. "That's not what happened," he shouted before his attorney yanked him back down. Diddy's face was unrecognizable, eyes wide, chest heaving. A court officer edged closer to his table. What made this clip devastating wasn't just the violence, it was that, the day before, Diddy had testified under oath. "I have never, in any circumstance, physically assaulted Ms. Ventura or any woman." He'd even added, "There's no footage because it never happened." As the prosecutor laid out these contradictions, Diddy unraveled. He shook his head, muttered under his breath, and eventually dropped his head onto the defense table. His lawyer requested a break. The judge declined. "Proceedings will continue. Mr. Combs needs to regain composure." One bailiff later told reporters he'd never witnessed a defendant fall apart so quickly. "It was like watching someone split in two," he said. By the day's end, the shocking footage had already spread through Hollywood. Celebrities were texting furiously, debating loyalties. The once impenetrable wall shielding Diddy's public image began to collapse just as visibly as he had in court. And what came next would prove even more devastating.
All these years, you've been the only one calling this out.
I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long
they
time.
They said you're a hater. They said you're crazy.
You do this, yeah. And now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting. There's all this shit that's coming.
50, you can't make jokes about it.
No.
The internet might come for you, bro.
All I'm saying
it might come for you.
You see it now. All of these complaints. People were damn. They were and pillaged. This was what was going on, right? And what do I get for I went through years of a hater. You're a hater. You want this and that. I'm just watching. Like, I look at things and go, when you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh shoot, like. Then I think about it, I go, that had to be there. So when I was saying that he was missing, he just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Like that, look, so like if you say, I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I go also 10 years, 20 years later, it comes back. And it's like all of Puff's problems are coming from the ministers touching little boys.
What you mean?
The laws are the way they are because because
of the priests.
The priests touching little boys.
Yeah. Prior to the trial, Diddy enjoyed unwavering support from the celebrity elite. His peers attended his lavish parties, collaborated on his tracks, and defended him publicly. When whispers of misconduct surfaced, his inner circle rallied around him. That's how much influence he held. No one wanted to jeopardize their status by speaking out. But all of that changed after day 3. The leaked courtroom footage combined with Diddy's outburst shattered the culture of silence. And the real tipping point, 50 Cent. By taking Cassie's side so visibly, he gave others permission to do the same. Once 50 spoke up, the dam broke, an industry insider told me. Suddenly, people felt free to show support without being the first to step forward. And that's exactly what happened. Within hours of 50's dramatic appearance, the entertainment world split. The unfollows began almost immediately. Usher, once a frequent collaborator, quietly unfollowed Diddy on Instagram. Mary J. Blige, one of his closest allies during the Bad Boy era, did the same. Justin Bieber, who once called Diddy a mentor, not only unfollowed him, but scrubbed every photo of them together from his account. These weren't coincidences. They were intentional moves to create distance. Social media turned into a quiet war zone. Stars started posting vague, but clearly pointed messages. Lizzo shared a stark "Believe women." The Weeknd posted, "Power doesn't make you honest." Even Drake, known for avoiding drama, wrote, "The truth always comes out." Just hours after the video leaked, others got more direct. Cardi B went live on Instagram and said, "I've seen this kind of abuse in the industry for years. It's time we stop covering for predators with money." She didn't name Diddy, but no one had to guess who she meant. But the most revealing sign of Diddy's downfall, his calls stopped getting answered. A source on his team told me that several listers who once took his calls instantly are now dodging them. He's called Rihanna 6 times since the Courtroom blow-up. She hasn't answered once. Rumors are swirling that Beyoncé and Jay-Z were asked to release statements of support and refused. Meanwhile, support for Cassie is only growing. Female artists who once worked with Diddy have reached out to her legal team, offering to testify about their own stories. Some stars who normally stay silent on legal matters posted in her defense. Lady Gaga even sent flowers to Cassie's house with a card that read, "I believe you." According to a friend close to Cassie, this kind of open support would have been unthinkable even a week earlier. Diddy's hold over the industry used to be unshakable, but that grip has now slipped. As more celebrities jump ship and new evidence piles up, Diddy's final unraveling came in one explosive courtroom moment that left even the judge in disbelief.
Who's this guy trying to get?
I don't know. Like, it's a simple suit situation, but it's like
20 mil. I can say it.
You still had the blackest face out. You still had to mimic his voice because he's like,
but his voice wasn't even that different.
And a little deeper. I was like, almost like, no, that's you, young buck.
Yo,
almost felt like it was. I almost knew who it was. You know what I mean? I was like, nah. You heard what he just said, right? He's like, yo, certain things they let it go by because it's Puff. Like they would look, like he would say stuff, and it's like he wasn't like in the closet, he was like in the hallway. Now you see so much shit that you go, wait. No, this was visible.
He was in the hallway. We saw the video.
You saw that video. It comes out later. You're like, that's not the closet. That's the hallway. He didn't give a fuck. Like, you could tell that he was already.
Nah, New York is dope. Because when Fab, he was like, yo, Fab, we ain't party. Fab was like, nah, we partying tonight.
He's like, no, like, but he didn't party. Yeah. And I'm like, yo,
The final blow-up came during Cassie's testimony on day 3. The courtroom was packed, media lined the back wall. Celebrities dotted the gallery, and 50 Cent remained in his seat, arms crossed. Diddy had been visibly unraveling all morning. Court clerk Melissa Johnson later remarked that he kept leaning in to whisper to his attorneys, each time louder, more agitated. His leg bounced nonstop beneath the table. He fidgeted with his tie, loosening it, tightening it, cycling through nervous ticks like a man on the edge. Cassie took the stand at 2:30 p.m., her voice steady as she looked directly at the jury and described a 2019 confrontation. "He told me he made my career and that he could destroy it just as easily," she said. Diddy was already shaking his head before she finished. His lawyer kept trying to calm him with a hand on his arm. The judge took note, according to court reporter Damon Williams. The judge scribbled a note and passed it to Diddy's lawyer in apparent warning. Then Cassie brought up an incident at Diddy's Hamptons home in 2018. She said he locked her in a bedroom for 2 days after she spoke to another music executive. As she described it, Diddy's face hardened. His eyes widened, jaw clenched, and a vein popped on his forehead. The courtroom artist later said she captured a look of pure fury, something entirely new. Suddenly, Diddy stood. His lawyer tried to tug him back down, grabbing the sleeve of his blazer. But it was too late. "That's a lie," Diddy shouted, pointing directly at Cassie. "You know what you did?" The courtroom went still. Even the court reporter paused. Cassie flinched but didn't look at him. Diddy wasn't finished. He turned toward the back, eyes locked on 50 Cent. "And you," he yelled, voice cracking. "You're gonna regret this." Security sprang into action. 2 guards stepped between Diddy and the witness stand. Another moved behind his chair. Judge Harmon slammed her gavel. "Mr. Combs, you will compose yourself." Immediately, she ordered. "One more outburst and you'll be held in contempt. Security, stay in place." Diddy's lawyer tried to request a recess. The judge cut him off. "Sit down, counsel. We will proceed." Spectators were stunned. Diddy, long known for his smooth, composed persona, had just completely lost control in front of everyone. One juror was seen furiously scribbling notes. Not a good look for the defense. Through it all, Cassie remained poised. She calmly sipped water and continued speaking as if nothing had happened. Her attorney later said this newfound confidence stemmed from knowing she had powerful supporters now, especially 50 Cent. And speaking of 50, his reaction to the outburst? A faint smile and a slow, deliberate nod, like someone watching a plan unfold. The power dynamic had flipped. Diddy's team went into panic mode after court. Their entire defense had hinged on portraying him as a calm, respectable mogul. That image shattered the moment he screamed across the courtroom. A legal source told me his lawyers spent all night scrambling to reframe their strategy. By morning, they filed an emergency motion for a mistrial, claiming 50 Cent's presence was a deliberate provocation and created bias. They even attached screenshots from 50's social media posts as evidence of a coordinated smear campaign. The judge wasn't persuaded. She denied the motion swiftly, writing that Mr. Combs alone was responsible for his courtroom conduct. Now, Diddy's attorneys are pivoting again this time. They're painting him as passionate, not violent, a misunderstood man rather than a monster. It's a complete reversal. Meanwhile, Cassie's team is seizing the moment. Her attorney requested the judge approve 3 new witnesses who had initially refused to testify, but changed their minds after Diddy's meltdown. Sources say these include a former bodyguard and personal assistants with direct knowledge of Diddy's alleged behavior, and 50 Cent isn't backing down. Since the courtroom outburst, he's posted 7 times about the case, each post more pointed than the last. His latest featured a side-by-side image, Diddy losing it in court next to the security footage of and grabbing Cassie. The caption read, "Actions speak louder than lawyers." It racked up over 3 million likes in 6 hours. He also teased a new docuseries titled Music Industry Secrets, which many believe will focus heavily on Diddy. But the most striking shift may be Cassie herself. When she returned to the stand after the outburst, courtroom observers noticed the change, more upright, more sure of herself. Her attorney confirmed it. She feels heard. She's reclaiming her voice. Day by day, legal analysts agree Diddy's courtroom behavior severely damaged his case. Jury consultant Sarah Matthews explained, "Jurors don't forget what they see. Watching him explode unfiltered rather carries more weight than testimony." One analyst said several jurors physically lean away from Diddy after the outburst. And the damage wasn't just legal. Diddy's business empire started to fracture. Shares in his media company dropped 14% in a single day. 3 major brands paused deals with his liquor business. His talent agency is reportedly reviewing his representation. Industry insiders estimate potential losses exceeding $200 million. Regardless of the trial's outcome, the tables have turned. Diddy, once an untouchable force, now sits exposed as his empire crumbles. Cassie, once silenced, stands stronger every day with 50 Cent at her side. What started as a personal trial has become something bigger, a cultural reckoning, a public teardown of one of music's most powerful figures. And if 50's cryptic promises are any indication, more is coming. This isn't just a court case. Anymore, it's the unraveling of a dynasty. The silence that once protected power is finally being shattered.